That's on the next Better.
Today, as we go tripping with Better, we are sailing the high seas. Our travel expert, Gabe Sagley, is a senior editor of TravelZoo.com. He is showing us some great money-saving secrets for cruisers. Nice to see you, Gabe.
Good to be here.
You have 5 top tips. The one thing I want to ask you is most people, when they go cruising, want to take those summer trips because they want to be in the deck in the sun. But fall and winter, you say, are some of the best times to cruise?
Yeah, indeed. In fact, fall, particularly in parts of winter, depending on where you're going, they're known as the shoulder season between the popular summer cruises, the popular winter cruises to places like Alaska. So that fall period, early winter, some big savings because the ships are not as full and some of the destinations not as popular. Of course, weather plays a big factor. So tip number 1, timing. If you are really flexible, fall and early winter is the best time to find some great sailing deals.
You can find some last-minute savings there,
sure.
right?
Oh, yeah. Particularly,
okay.
You can find savings at 70 to 80% or more, depending on your destination.
Okay, you say to look for repositioning cruises.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
So, a lot of ships are sailing year-round, but many are seasonal. And if they end a particular season in one location, they've got to get that ship to the next location. And so these are sort of one-way cruises. They can be from Europe to the east coast of the U.S. They can be from Alaska to Hawaii. But they'd rather take, instead of sailing the ships empty, they'd rather really deeply discount the cabins and get people on those ships. So repositioning cruises, the only drawback is where you're sailing from and where your cruise ends are different places. You've got to fly to and from different locations. But that aside, the savings on these repositioning one-way cruises can be really dramatic.
So will those savings maybe offset what you might have to pay within your flying costs?
Absolutely, and many of these repositioning cruises are packages that oftentimes include airfare, so you can seek some of that out as well.
Definitely something to look for. Let's talk about getting these early, because is it true the earlier you book, the more savings you can get?
Yes, with a little asterisk, because not really all the time. If, in some cases, some cruise lines, if you book 6 months or more ahead of time, they'll give you a 15 to 20% discount, or they'll throw incentives like they'll waive your port fees, or they'll throw on some onboard dining discounts. Or if you pay immediately as soon as you book or within 48 hours as opposed to spreading out your payments, you'll get, say, a 15 to 20% discount. Now, all that said, some of the most dramatic savings are these last-minute cruises. Not everybody has a lifestyle or the schedule that allows you to say, hey, I'm going to cruise next week or next month. But so if you have that kind of flexibility, yeah, you can risk it and look for some last-minute savings. But there are some discounts to be had if you book 6 months or more in advance.
You say to plan excursions on your own while on board?
Well, the cruise lines do a great job at some great excursions. Sometimes they're exclusive. The only problem is that you're usually paying a premium. Once you set your itinerary, once you lock in your cruise, several weeks or months before you even set sail, you can actually contact the ports themselves for tours, for tour guides, and oftentimes you're locking in, separately from the ship itself, some pretty good savings on some excursions. The only drawback is that if it's not a ship-sponsored excursion, and if it's running late for whatever reason, that ship will set sail without you.
Sure.
If it's an excursion you got on the ship and it runs late, they'll wait for you. That's the only trick. But as far as saving money, oftentimes it's better to do it outside the ship.
Which brings me to our next point. You really need to know what to expect. And, of course, budget accordingly when you get on these cruises.
Indeed, for first-time cruisers, sometimes the tipping concept, it is a very obvious part of your cruise. The tipping, you have to count on about $10 to $20 a day to tip the steward, to tip your waiters and waitresses. So just count on having extra cash on hand to tip. Also, photographs. A lot of cruisers feel like the paparazzi's after them. There's a lot of photograph opportunities. Usually, onboard photographs will range from $15 to $30 a pop, depending on, these are professional shots, but I say take your own camera along and then splurge on the 1 or 2 really awesome shots that are done professionally on board. And then take advantage of your ports. If you wanted to do like internet usage, massages, buy suntan lotion, you're going to pay a premium for all these things on the ship. Wait till, if you can, till you're on shore to buy some of that up at some bigger savings.
Always good advice. Gabe Sagley, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching Better.tv. For more stories like the one you just saw, catch the television program Better every weekday. Check your local TV listings to see if Better airs in your city.